welcome to a very special holiday edition of Cook This. I am your host, Tom Dignan, and today with me I have a very dear friend of mine, Patty Sarkady, right here from RB.
I didn't even think you knew my name.
Yep, see, I did it right. I didn't call you Farley or anything else.
No,
I did it right.
And my first name, too.
And first name. I won't spell it, but we'll be fine.
It's good. Yeah,
we
don't
are
spell it.
dazzling
Wow.
in our holiday gear, and I believe we're going to make some holiday appetizers.
Yes.
Is that what we're doing today?
Well, today I have one amazing appetizer for you. Maybe you have made it before, you've been to a party and you've had it. This is kind of a combination of all different types. So this is what I did. I looked on Google and I typed in buffalo chicken dip, corn chips. And you can imagine all of these different recipes. So what I did was I've been trying this out, and I took what I thought was the best, so I kind of just throw everything together.
Okay.
And what I did was I tried to measure some stuff. I'm not a measurer. I know you need to be a measurer while baking, but while cooking, you kind of can just throw things around.
I agree. That's part of the reason why I don't bake is because I don't like to measure things.
Yes, and I usually leave the butter out when I bake, so that's why I don't bake either.
That's a terrible decision. We'll save that for another episode, baking with butter.
Yes. So what are we going
to do here?
So we started with cream cheese, and what I did was I put it in the microwave to try to just soften it, but I ended up melting it. And it's okay. I mean, it's really creamy, but the reason why I needed it softened was because I'm going to use my electric mixer so that it will look exactly like it does when it's melted. But I am going to add some things. So because we have the ranch dressing and because we have the hot sauce, the wing sauce, the barbecue, hot wing sauce, it needs to mix. And so a lot of the recipes say mix it with a fork. You know what? I really want it mixed, so I'm going to use my mixer. So
and I like the consistency it's going to give you. It's going to make it nice and smooth. You know, sometimes you get that lumpy buffalo chicken dip where you just get a big chunk of cream cheese. No, we don't want that. We want uniform flavors. So I love this.
And what's nice about this dish is, so if you can make it for your holiday party, some people have holiday parties after the holiday, right? So if you're making your turkey, you can use turkey, your leftover turkey, in this dish. It doesn't have to be chicken.
Duck.
But yes, I love duck.
I don't know about ham.
I love duck. Yeah, I don't know.
Ham and blue cheese.
But leftover ham can make great sliders. Have you made sliders with the leftover ham?
I have made sliders.
So good. Maybe I should make that next time.
That'll be the next episode. How much cream cheese do we have?
All right, so I just have one 8-ounce cream cheese. So
regular cream cheese, not light cream cheese.
All regular, full fat,
Don't do
full-fat
cream cheese. It's a big mistake.
So I have doubled the recipe before, or tripled it, depending on the amount of people you're going to eat. But because this is a cooking show, I just did the regular one recipe.
Gotcha.
So we have an 8-ounce cream cheese already melted. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to put my dirty thing right.
I can hold it.
Oh, that's okay.
That's okay. We'll put it there. So we're going to basically take all the delicious flavors of a buffalo wing, which everybody loves wings, right? Do you like wings?
Who doesn't?
Everybody loves wings.
Who doesn't? And the mess, it's not a mess. You know why? Your spoon is a corn chip.
Is a corn chip. A large scoop size.
Just wait. It is scoop size.
Corn chip.
It's
You might refer to it as a scoop, but it would be a scoop-sized corn chip.
Yeah, you won't even get dirty.
Let's fluff this up.
All right, so we're just going to start it. I'm just going to put it on small.
We're going to put it on small.
We're going to put it on small.
Small. And this is,
then I'm gonna
would you like me to hold, how about if I hold your bowl here so that it doesn't go all over?
So I don't know, let's see, we tilt it a little bit toward the camera? Is that possible without spraying any of this amazing culinary delight?
Right now we've got something that, to be honest, we could probably just eat.
Right?
Cream cheese and hot sauce.
So I'm mixing a half cup of wing sauce, a half cup of ranch. You could use blue cheese dressing if you're interested. If you don't want to do ranch, you could do blue cheese.
Do you like blue cheese?
I do, but
I love blue cheese.
some
it
people
would be
don't.
a blue cheese. Or maybe I would crumble the blue cheese on the
top of it. So put the ranch inside and crumble blue cheese. That's an excellent idea.
Maybe give a little side serving. But now, aside from corn chips, we could do something like if you wanted to put out your crudité and do like carrots and celery, because everybody, when they eat wings, you got to have your carrots and celery.
And a lot of people don't like the corn chips, right?
Or maybe they're watching their waist a little bit, so we'll eat the dip, but I'm going to cut back on the scoop-sized corn chips and go ahead at it with a celery stick.
That's an excellent idea.
Especially around these holidays. I don't really do that, but you know, some people might.
I don't. I eat the corn chip.
Yes, I eat everything.
So I have here pre-cooked turkey or chicken, but this is pre-cooked turkey, and usually it calls for 2 cups, but I'm going to just see how it is because I don't want it too lumpy. I don't want a bunch of meat
So it is
in
a
my
recipe you
space.
can kind of eyeball and make it your own. If you want a little bit less chicken, maybe you pull back on it.
Yes.
Want a little bit more chicken, you can add it. And so this is turkey that you already had. So maybe like a rotisserie chicken or something like that
Yes.
you
Oh,
already
that's a
have
great
done.
idea.
I love cooking with rotisserie chickens.
Okay, so there is a little bit of room here. I am going to add a little more.
Or turkey.
Okay.
See, I am one that there's no such thing as too much meat. I mean, bring it on.
Okay,
right?
you want me to put some more in? I'll just
Sure,
put a little
but
more in.
yeah,
Well, we got to
yeah,
add some
sure.
for some cheese because I love the cheese.
Yeah.
Can't have too much cheese. All right, so then I'm going to put some of this in.
Now, what type of cheese is this?
This is mild cheddar.
Mild cheddar.
And none of the recipes that I looked for called for mozzarella, but you know what? A creamy mozzarella.
It's so
Yeah,
good.
It's going to melt. It's going to be great.
Now, could you also kind of play around with your cheeses if you wanted to?
Yes, and I think that's a great idea, that your suggestion with the blue cheese.
Yeah, I mean,
Sprinkle it on top.
yeah, with some wings, or you could, maybe do half so that people who don't like the blue cheese.
Right?
But everybody loves appetizers,
Yes.
right? And so when you
Yes.
bring a great one like this, because I have had this before and it's fantastic, and it's different from what you're probably going to get in your traditional holiday meal.
Right.
Right? So you're getting a little spice, you're getting some of this ranch, and then you can sit down with your
Right.
gravy and your mashed potatoes and
Yes.
stuff like that.
And it's a beautiful color when it comes out of the oven, too.
It is.
All right, so what I'm going to do is, this is already pre-sprayed. It's not.
It
I
is.
just pretended that it was
I will-
because I forgot my sprayer.
Magic TV spray.
Yes. All right, and then we're just going to look at how simple. We're just throwing it in there. Throwing it
Get
in
all
here.
that cream cheese, all that delicious stuff.
You don't want to lose it.
No. And so this, now I have a very large family, so this would
Yeah.
probably feed like 4 of us.
Right. That's why I triple mine.
You
really.
triple
I
yours.
do.
So you would take this, bam, big like 8x13 pan and do the whole thing.
That's exactly
right.
what I did.
That's about the size
Yeah.
our family needs.
I
So that's good
tripled
to know
mine,
too.
and I had leftovers with the triple. And
Nothing wrong
I
with
had
leftovers.
27 people for Thanksgiving this year.
Okay. And you
And
did all
some
the
of them
cooking?
were, like 10 of them were kids. Yes.
See, I will have, let's see, for my wife's side alone, we'll have about 40, 45-ish.
But people are
At
bringing.
Thanksgiving.
Will they bring?
Oh, yeah, they
Yeah, my
bring
mother-in-law
stuff and
brought
we-
some potatoes, and
Yeah.
my neighbors
You
brought
sort of
some
do
stuff.
potluck, right? Everybody takes a shot.
Yes. All right, so I'm not done. You think I'm done? But you got to sprinkle it, guess what? With cheese.
More cheese.
More cheese. So we're just going to sprinkle it on the top. Now my oven right now is at 350.
It is?
It is.
And now how long would you cook this? Do we
30
want to
minutes.
cover it? Do we want to leave it uncovered?
Great question. So yes and yes. No, yes and yes. So the yes first to the cover. So put it 350, cover it for 20 minutes, and
Okay.
then take the cover off and then cook it for another 10.
So you get that sort of bubbly cheese on the
Yes.
top. You want it to sort of brown up a little bit.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, why would we?
There's-
I mean,
yeah,
there's
right?
more here. We
Yeah,
could
just put it on there.
If anybody wants a cup of turkey and cheese, that's
Okay.
also a nice lunch.
All right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to put it in the oven, 350,
350?
cover it. I didn't bring anything to cover it either. Not a big
we
deal.
will use the
not a
magical
big
TV
deal.
for that.
Yes,
You would use a standard foil.
you would.
Aluminum foil.
Oh, wood. Yes, yes, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to put it in the oven, and then when we come back, we'll be able to try it.
Well, I know that I can't wait, and I know that everybody here can't wait to try. So we're going to take a break. We are going to magically cook this in the time that we take this break, and when we come back, Miss Sarkady and I are going to try her wonderful buffalo chicken dip for this holiday edition of
Yes.
Cook This. So don't go anywhere. Hello, and welcome back to this holiday edition of Cook This. I am Tom Dignan, here back again with Patty Sarkady.
Here I am.
And as you notice, everything's cleaned up, so that must mean it's time for the party,
Yes.
which is the best part of making all your appetizers. Would you care to join me over
let's
for a
go
little party?
see what
Let's
we
go
did.
see
It was
what
in the
happens
oven,
here.
right, for 350, and then for 20 minutes, then we took off the foil, and then we let it cook for 10 more minutes.
And look
I'm
at
just
this
going to turn around
gorgeous
here because my mic is stuck.
a sachet.
Yes, so here it is. So as the host or hostess, you can just go ahead and either stir this up or just get the party started, because some people don't like to take the first, dip. Plus, if the cheese is pretty, ready to be kind of like a creme brulee, like you're going to crack it, sometimes the corn chips will break if you don't mix
Okay.
it. All right, so
Now, who are these people who don't want to be the first person to take a
Right?
dip? Those are the crazy people.
So
I
please,
am going to be
yes.
there. Now, this one is turkey also, the same way you did the other one?
Yes, actually, no, it's chicken. This is done with chicken.
Mm-hmm.
So this is cubed chicken. I boiled chicken breast, boneless chicken breast, and then I also put garlic and salt and pepper in the broth.
delicious.
And then I cubed it.
And so we're using these scoop shaped corn chips in the shape of a scoop.
Yeah, I don't know where.
I just got something on your arm.
Oh, no, it's right here.
Oh, there it is on a spoon.
We'll leave it there for the next person.
And the best part about this is exactly, like I don't even need to make a plate with this.
No.
I can walk up to it,
Yep, see, look.
casually talk,
Who's got me?
use the
Nice.
scoop-shaped
Falling.
chip, allow it to fall over,
Oh.
and then you just talk at your Christmas party about Santa. You have a nice, jolly, merry time.
Yes.
Vintage water.
So good.
It's an 83.
I don't know how long it's been sitting out, but it's very good.
It's very good. It breathed nicely. So thank you very much. This was a wonderful segment. I'm glad you tuned in. We're going to be back, so don't go anywhere. Miss Farley's coming to cook some of her holiday favorites with us. And once again, for this segment, I would like to thank Miss Sarkady.
You are so welcome, and
And
thank you for letting me be here.
You're quite welcome. Have a wonderful holiday season,
too.
and let's eat some more buffalo dip. Don't go away. We'll be back. Hello and welcome back to Cook This, a very special holiday edition of Cook This. I'm Tom Dignan, and with me now is my good buddy Patty Farley.
Here we go.
Culinary arts teacher here at
Yes,
Riverside,
I am.
Brookfield, and she is bringing what she is calling Wonton Wonderland.
Yes.
So what are we going to make today?
Well, I really like making appetizers. I think that appetizers are quick, easy. Everybody seems to like them. And I think at this time of the year, most people have those types of gatherings is where there's appetizers happening. So because I cook all day with the students, sometimes I'm a little fatigued
that
about
happens.
getting back into the kitchen. So I think all of us are always really busy at this time of the year. So I wanted to show everybody how you can take these little wonton wrappers and not make wontons at all, and
There
how
you
you
go.
can do some things ahead of time, and then you can just decide which ones you want to
So
make.
this is one of those, like, no fuss, easy prep, get it ready in advance, get ready for your party, and then present these beautiful looking appetizers. So you've got a little mini muffin tin here.
Yes, and so what I did is I took some spray, and the biggest mistake that we can do, and even then it's not a huge mistake, is that we puddle our cooking spray when we put it inside the muffin liners or muffin tins. So I just like to put a little on my napkin and just kind of put that in.
See, that's a good trick. I am a puddler.
Okay, and
never knew I
and
was
look
a
what
puddler.
happens when you puddle. It gets
you get
very
the-
dark, and it's a little, not so greasy now because they've been in my bag for a couple days, because once again, I did this ahead of time, trying to be ready. Now, the only thing I'd like you to warn you about with the wontons is, number one, if you don't keep them refrigerated, and these have been out now, because I was showing my first and second hour students what I was going to do right now. They do get a little dry and they crack, and you can
Okay.
see that this is starting to crack. So this is one thing that I would try to make sure that you can do right away in one easy step. You would have your oven preheated to about 400, and the only other thing that I would caution, you see how I keep pressing down the bottom? I want these to be flat, so it's easy. Imagine that if I was having a fancy party and I had somebody serving the appetizers.
Walking around with maybe this gold platter.
There you go.
Yeah, you don't want them tipping over and all your
really-
stuff falling out. You want it
absolutely
to
right.
be this nice little pretty, exactly as you have here.
Well-
so wonton wrappers are basically like egg roll wrappers, right?
Absolutely,
So
they're
it's
just
egg rolls,
smaller.
dumplings, something like that. So this you can get at any grocery store.
Yes, and they're always sold in the produce section. I
Always
know
sold
that's
in the produce
because
section.
they do need to be refrigerated, and typically, what do you have in your wontons? Think about
Lots
it.
of stuff.
Right, they're like a little dumpling,
It's like
correct?
it's a little wrapper,
Pierogi.
an edible wrapper.
Yeah.
So these you would bake off, you said 400 degrees for how long?
About 8 to 10 minutes.
And you can kind of eyeball it if you see
Well,
them
that's what
starting
I
to get
wanted
dark.
to show
Sure.
you. Yes, I have a couple different varieties. And so this is one thing that I love to do. I like to just make them up ahead of time. It is the season, so I have a larger mini muffin tin. I'm sure you guys aren't surprised. I really do like to cook and bake. So
I do as
can
well.
knock off 24 of these, you know, in 8 to 10, well, with the prep, maybe 15 minutes. So this is really the color that I would like to have. But oops, I got busy cutting my strawberries because I wanted to macerate them for a little bit. And you can see they're just a little bit darker. Okay, so it's just your eye appeal. And I even did the spinach, well, I'm jumping ahead here, but it depends what I put in them as
Right,
far as
and
the
that was what
color.
I was going to say. You don't want to get rid of these. There's
No.
nothing wrong with them. But
No.
maybe it would change what you put in it, because that little darker, sort of nuttier might work really nice with your spinach artichoke dip.
Can you tell we work well together?
We work well
We
together.
work
We've
so
cooked
well
before.
together, everybody.
Do you prefer cooking or baking?
You know, I really like all of it, but my stress release is baking.
Wow. See,
Absolutely.
Baking is so frightening to me.
Okay.
Measuring things, and
it's
there's
very
math.
science. And it really is. Sometimes you can make the most beautiful pie crust, and the next time you've done everything, and it's like, what
Yes.
happened?
See, I just
it was
kinda like
your
to salt
mood,
bake
the love
everything.
wasn't
Just
in it. Yeah.
Toss it in as it goes. So you've got some. Now, what do you have in these ones
Okay,
here?
so this is, I'm going to show you 3 different types. A couple of them are savory, and then a little, I would say the strawberry is still kind of savory. But what I've done is I've just taken a little bit of cream cheese, and I've just put a little dab in there, and I baked that in the oven. But see here again, I can take this and pop this in the microwave and rewarm it if I wanted. So I could do this ahead of time. And then all I'm going to do is take a little bit of cocktail sauce and put, so it's a handy dandy, look, don't you like cocktail sauce
I love
on your?
cocktail sauce.
Now I have to apologize, I forgot the parsley. I would like to sprinkle, especially since it's a Christmas theme, I would like to sprinkle a little bit of parsley on my shrimp.
Get a little red and green going.
That's what I was thinking. So once again, I like to make, I'm sure you do too, you like to pick out your shrimp and you like to grill it and season it.
But I like the pre-done ones too, especially for an appetizer when, you just need the shrimp.
Well, thanks. And so all I did here is I melted a little bit of butter and garlic, and I just poured it over the top of the pre-cooked, because I obviously, no way you can tell everybody why you don't want to overcook shrimp.
It turns into a rubber ball.
Yes, it's
And it's
awful.
just not real
It's just
good.
awful.
I love shrimp. Like shrimp, I eat probably too much shrimp. I have a daughter who loves, a couple daughters who love shrimp, so we eat a lot of shrimp.
Wow.
Cocktail sauce, so I actually make my own cocktail sauce.
Well, but this, I'm all about the quick and easy
Today,
right
this
now
is
for
quick
the world
and easy
out
right now.
there.
If you
for the
wanted
world.
to, ketchup,
Yes.
horseradish, lemon,
Yes.
things like that.
Yes. So see, by doing this, nice hot butter and garlic, it just adds a little, and imagine with the pretty green parsley. And then all you're going to do is hook this
Look at that.
onto your little wonton. And you've got, and imagine you're at my house.
Look at that. It's
and-
an edible shrimp cocktail.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get any better than that.
And
And
if you-
everybody loves shrimp cocktails,
Well,
right?
don't they? And I don't know why, unlike your house, a lot of people view shrimp as kind of, oh, it's fancy.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I
true.
mean?
It's-
Especially in the cocktail form.
Yes, and
It's not
especially
something-
for your holidays.
That's what
it's
I'm
sort
saying.
of one of those staples. You got to have
Yes.
some nice shrimp out before your party, before you're about to eat your turkey
Yeah.
or your roast, whatever it is you're having. Those
Yes.
look really good.
Good. Well, so that's one. Now you can take the same wonton wrapper, but this time I did not put
Cream cheese.
cream cheese in it. And I love, and I'm sure you're like me, I've made that spinach artichoke Parmesan
Love it.
before. I actually started doing it from the Ravinia cookbook. Did you ever look at the Ravinia
I have
cookbook?
not seen it yet.
They're beautiful. It's called Noteworthy. So anyway, I remember before you could buy it pre-made, making it from
Yes.
scratch, right? And in
Can of
beautiful cast,
artichokes,
yes.
the frozen
Yes.
spinach, chopped spinach.
Yeah, so I have all of that, or you could even take the fresh spinach and actually saute it, because
that.
I always like to do things that when I can from scratch because of the depth of flavor that you
Yes.
add, right?
I like to do that. For me is my stress relief. Like if I
Okay.
know I've got a couple hours where I have to cook, that's fine, because then I know I'm right there. Look at, so we've got the artichokes.
Yeah.
You've got your spinach,
The sour cream. I don't have the Parmesan because guess what? I just, I've been too busy.
So you
I
know
thought
what?
I had
Get rid of that.
Parmesan
You're-
at
you know what?
home.
You are too busy.
That's what I'm saying.
Get rid of
So
that.
is everybody at this time of the year.
Get the
So I
tub.
can't tell you labels, but I'm sure everybody is aware that there is a delicious spinach artichoke Parmesan dip that you can buy in large quantity.
At some sort of large,
Yes,
big box
store,
retailer.
yes. So all I do, and obviously it depends how much I want to make, and I pop this in the microwave to warm it, because if you ever have, it's good cold, but I
It's better
love it
warm. You got-
warm.
yeah,
the
hot,
flavors just
yes.
infuse together, and
You get
so
that cheese melting a little bit better. It's
Yeah.
you got to do it.
it's really.
And cold artichokes can be kind of weird sometimes, can't they? I think so. I'm not a-
I've never really thought about that
I don't eat
before.
artichokes. I don't like them, but
Oh,
I
I
love
love
spinach
artichokes.
artichoke dip.
Oh, well, there you go. And see, in my class, I always call it the no thank you bite, so everybody should at least try it. And then if you don't like it, say no thank you.
That's my general rule in life.
In life,
period.
okay.
You kind of have to try it once, and then you can say you don't like it.
Okay. So now I have never put these in the microwave once they're filled.
Would the wontons probably get a little soggy?
That's what I would imagine. And so I just find it easiest. And you can see these have been sitting a little bit. They're dried out. But look at how fresh that color is. And look at how easy this is. And so then I have another appetizer right here. And look, all I had to do was warm things up because I made these 2 days ago.
Made these. And look, I'm going to, if you can see this plate here, I'm going to show you one of these wonderful things to make your party platter. Look at the little spinach leaves underneath. Can you see that? So now everybody knows when they see these spinach leaves, I'm going to touch one. So they come over and they might say to themselves, I wonder what's in that. Well, they see the spinach and they say, I bet there's spinach in that.
Well, and I think that that's one other way you can dress up your plate so much. And if I would have had my parsley, I would have stuck a little fresh parsley by the shrimp. I probably would actually put this on 2 different platters personally, because some people do have shrimp allergies and you have to be careful of that. I actually have a 3-tiered, I'm sure you do too, that you put your...
I don't know that
Anyway,
I
like to entertain. I like to entertain.
I get it.
So then the other, in case you want, still once again the holiday theme, and I am going to show you a couple things with this. I just need some fresh strawberries, some goat cheese. This is going to have a little balsamic vinegar, one of my favorites.
Yes.
And you can really go crazy on the types of balsamic vinegars. I mean, that's a whole show in and of itself.
Yes, and there's like different ages of them.
Yes.
And it's crazy.
Yes.
So people out there in TV land are probably looking at this and saying, did she really just say strawberries and cheese? So what's the idea of mixing the strawberries with the cheese with the balsamic? What are you going to get here?
Well, first of all, we're going to macerate the strawberries, which is sugar with the balsamic vinegar. So it's just going to, we'll just taste it here.
Yes,
I know there's no tasting TV, but wait, that's
macerating, what it does is it sort of pulls the liquid out and kind of makes this whole little liquidy thing going on. If you can see that, it almost makes a sauce because the sugar and everything starts to pull it out of there. So I'm going to eat some of this.
Yes, you can tell that I'm a little nervous. So usually I'm telling my students all those kind of things. So you tell me, what does the balsamic vinegar do to it?
It gets that little flavor in the back of your tongue.
Yes.
So you get the sweet of the strawberry. Then you get this creamy goat cheese, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, what's that tang coming from? And it's the balsamic vinegar.
It kind of pops. It just gives it a little something.
God, I love that.
Okay, good.
And we're going to talk about the basil that's in there also.
Talk about the depth of flavor, because that hits you at a different layer, right? So
this is so fresh tasting because you've got the fresh strawberries, you've got fresh basil, you've got the nice creamy goat cheese. It's just like everything comes together.
Good.
I love it.
I'm so glad. And all I wanted to do is, in my class, I always teach the kids about knife skills, and that the first cut should always be to make the item flat. So once again, you're going to just top off your strawberry, and then look at how pretty you're going to make these nice slices. And as you said, you already explained why we macerate the strawberries, and so you can do that in the morning. I actually did it just a couple hours ago, and you do want that to kind of infuse and pull out the liquid.
Yeah, it's not something you could skip on this. You wouldn't want to just put a strawberry and some cheese. It's important to have that little sauce to bring it all together.
Well, and to heighten the flavor, and that's, So anyway, that's what you're going to do. Now, I actually did the balsamic vinegar and the sugar in a separate container, and then I just drizzled and I slowly rolled. Now, because I was here for the show, I also want to show you how to chiffonade basil. It's fancy. You're going to sound like you really went to culinary school.
It's one of my favorite words, to chiffonade.
To chiffonade. And
it's a cutting technique.
It actually is, yes, that we don't really do until Foods 2. But
because it's fancy and special.
We do learn how to do it. So all of you have different fresh herbs that you like to use in your cooking. So all you're going to do with basil, parsley, thyme might be a little too small.
A little too small. Even parsley, I've had trouble doing that.
Yes.
So you rolled it up in like a little tube.
You roll it up really tight, and then you just want to do a very thin, it's actually called the ribbon cut. And I'm just going to do a real tight slice here, because, as you know, Tom, when you're cutting your fresh herbs, you can bruise them.
Yes.
So it's not anything that I want to do like I see all of those famous chefs do with the chop. Yeah.
Well, especially with this one, we're serving it raw.
Yes.
You know, it's one thing if you're going to maybe put it in a soup or something where it's going to cook for a while, but here when we want that nice fresh basil, you don't want it bruised.
Right.
Look at those nice little ribbons, too.
Well,
They're pretty.
it's just pretty. And if you think that that's too large, and you'll notice I did not. Now this, I would absolutely take. That's easy to take the stem. But I don't have to break that spine, and I can just cut that right in there, and nobody's going to notice. So if that seems a little long for what we're doing, then all you want to do quickly is bunch this up and just try to do a gentle little cut to
Run
cut
your
that
knife
down.
through one more
just
time.
one more time. So I did sprinkle that in. I'm going to take an empty one.
Okay.
There we go. And so I did, let's imagine that I didn't put the goat cheese in yet.
Let's imagine that.
Let's imagine,
Let's
okay?
pretend for a second there isn't any goat cheese. So
Because the goat cheese did obviously pick up the balsamic coloring, and I thought that the white of it looked pretty. It was
again,
just,
look at the Christmas colors you got going. You got your red, white, green.
yeah, and
a
then
little crumble of goat cheese. Now, we talked about this before. Could you use a different cheese besides goat cheese?
Well, you just tasted it. Yes, you absolutely could. And cream cheese, in my opinion, would be a better substitute than feta, which we were talking about earlier. I
Feta
love
is
feta.
strong.
It is. It's just so strong.
Goat cheese is very subtle. It's almost like kind of like a tangier cream cheese.
That's
A little more
exactly. It's
crumbly.
fermented. It seems more fermented than a cream cheese, don't you think?
I do.
But you definitely would want to use a soft cheese. But I could easily have crumbled
That's
this
the
ahead
one you
of
made
time.
this one for me, right?
There you go.
I think
yeah.
this was the one that was
there
made
you
for me
go.
because it had my name over
And
it.
it has just such freshness, as you mentioned. And that's what I like about this. And look, you've got 3 different quick, wonderful wonton appetizers. And how much time did it take us? I think we even have more of our segment. What should we talk
Probably
about
even
now?
a couple more minutes. Well, I mean, it was a wonton wonderland is what it was.
It really was.
Now, you could probably do anything that you really like in
Yes.
here. So
Oh.
what are some other things maybe that you would put in a wonton wonderland wrapper?
Well, I know I've done a lot of other things in here, and I could do more of a Latin American theme. I've done a lot of taco, black bean, and
Delicious.
corn, and kind of a salsa impact. You could do mini little taco cups, couldn't you?
Yes.
In here, and so that is something that I've done. You could do your ceviche and then just serve it in here, right? Wouldn't that be
Ceviche being
nice?
nice marinated fish like that.
Right,
I did these
right.
before with some really good brie, a little fig jam on top.
Oh, absolutely.
Delicious.
And that I used to do with puff pastry.
Yes.
And that some people would think that this is a puff pastry when they first,
Very similar.
yes, it dries out like a puff pastry. Puff pastry is obviously lighter.
I think these are easier to work with.
I think so too.
Yeah,
and
puff
that's,
pastry is a little tricky, folks.
some
That's
people
foods
do,
3,
oh,
maybe even
you're
4.
so funny, baking and pastry. But that is funny because you're right. People are fearful of puff pastry.
Yeah.
And they just have to slightly keep it damp slightly as they're working with it. But yes, I've done that a lot. The brie
So
and the
it's sort of like
fig.
one of those, here's your cup, whatever nice little things you feel like putting in there is, and you can add your own personal touches with what you've got, seasonal,
Yes.
what's handy to you at your store.
It's a good leftover too. Imagine if you have just a little bit of leftovers and you want to throw something in here.
Absolutely.
Like a little sloppy Joe.
Little
Imagine
turkey
that with
stuffing,
a little.
mashed potato, gravy,
Well-
and then I'm going to eat the entire meal in a wonton cup.
Well, you really could. So, and I'm sure everybody checks out Pinterest or the Google. Google is a very good friend of mine.
I've heard of it.
Yes,
I've heard of
so
it. It's
they
a search
could
engine.
Google wontons as appetizers.
Well, this was great. I am going to eat this, so that means I'm going to sign off so that I can eat this and not talk anymore. We're going to come back later, so don't go away, but I do want to thank Ms. Farley very
I'm so
much.
happy to be here.
It was a great wonton wonderland.
Yes.
Happy holidays, and we'll be back in a little bit with more Cook This Holiday Edition.
Thanks.
And welcome back to another segment of Cook This, our special holiday edition. And now I have with me Principal Kristin Smetana, who is going to do our holiday baking.
Well, thanks. I'm really excited to be here.
Now, you are like an expert baker, right? This is kind of like one of your things.
I would not classify myself as an expert, but I do enjoy baking, and I bake often.
I am terrified of baking. These things terrify me. I just want to be able to throw food into, sort of that way. So you're going to really have to explain this to me so I can learn my new butter spritz recipe. So what do we got? Take it away.
So we're starting with creaming a cup of butter. Now, as you can see, this is not butter. This is margarine. But this is what I had in my house last night. And I've substituted margarine before in this recipe, and it worked out. So
Okay, I was gonna wonder, because
Yeah.
I'm a butter guy. I love real butter.
yeah, you can't always substitute them and have it come out tasting the same, but this one, you're okay.
Okay. So that's a half a cup, you said.
It's a cup.
It's a cup. Each stick is a half cup. See, this is how bad I'm at baking. Is normally if it's just, like hack off a piece and it goes in the pan. So that was a full cup.
Yeah, a lot of butter.
Right. Okay, a lot of butter.
So what happens when it's a butter spritz
It is a
cookie?
butter spritz. You need butter
Lots
for
of
the
butter.
butter spritz. So we're going to cream it with sugar. Now I know this. This means you're going to kind of turn it into sort of like a paste almost, right?
Yes, correct.
And you're using regular granulated white sugar as opposed to powdered sugar?
Yep. Yeah, you would never want to substitute one for the other. You get a
Okay.
very different result if you do.
So this one calls for the granulated sugar
Correct,
as
and this
opposed to
is-
brown sugar, powdered sugar. There's a lot
Lots
of
of
sugars.
sugars.
Corn syrup. Okay, so that goes in there.
It's just a half a cup. So put it in. And then here we
Here
go.
comes the volume, the boat motor. See, it's not that bad. We can talk.
Yeah, we could talk.
As long as we have
As long
power.
as it doesn't go out.
Ho, 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 ho. So it's like, Christmas sounds going over the cream, right?
Yeah. Have you
So how
ever
long do we have to do this for? Does it eventually just sort of loosen up?
It does, and then we got to turn the speed up a little bit to get it off the beaters
Get her cranking?
and to get it really creamed.
Can you see that? Yeah, it's getting really creamy. Whoa.
So that's about a good consistency. The purpose is to really make sure that it's well mixed.
Fluffy.
Fluffy, it is also fluffy. So then the next step is to put in 1 egg
Okay.
and almond extract. Would you like to crack the egg?
Would you like me to crack the egg?
would.
Sure. I actually like to do it on the little trick. If you do it on the side of the bowl, you're going to get shell. If you do it here, it's going to give you a nice even crack. And I'm actually going to do it here to make sure we don't get any shell into the cookies.
And you said you weren't a baker.
Sometimes you just get a couple things here and there. So we did our egg in
Put it in.
and almond extract instead of vanilla. Have you ever
Yeah.
made it with vanilla?
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Do you have like 15 different extracts at your house?
I have about 5.
5. Okay, so
Yeah.
I have peppermint extract, lemon, vanilla, almond. I never use the almond though.
And there's also rum.
Rum extract. That's for the adult version of butter spritz cookie making.
Yeah, except it's
Just an extract.
Yeah.
How much did you put in there?
half a teaspoon.
So just a little bit. You don't want to go
just
too
a
much
little
on that.
And the next step is to mix it again.
We got to be careful now because it's gotten a little more liquidy, right?
Right, so we
got
start
the
off
egg in
nice
there.
and slow, and then pick up the speed.
And you can actually already smell the almond. Good. It's a good smell. So how often do you bake?
Probably a couple times a month.
A couple times a month. And is this like what? Why did you pick this one? Just because it's holiday, or is this like one of your go-to cookie recipes, one of your favorites?
Because it's a holiday. So every year my family has a holiday baking day
Nice.
where all my brothers and sisters come over. Some people are just the test eaters.
Which would be my job.
Right, and
Taste
other
testing.
right, and other people are the bakers. And so this is the recipe we usually save for the end because it's quick and easy, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time to make, and there are very few ingredients.
So we're scraping down the sides of the bowl to make sure we get all of our ingredients in there and mixed up really well.
Yep.
Perfect. Love it.
And the only other ingredient that is left is flour.
Flour. Okay,
Yeah.
now what type of flour do you use? Because that's another thing that there's like so many types of flour.
Right. I typically, when I'm baking, unless it calls for something special, just use all-purpose.
All-purpose. Because there's like cake flour, there's self-rising flour,
Right.
there's like a whole
Bread flour, yeah.
section of the grocery store. Again, I don't really look at that section because I don't use it. How much flour are we putting in?
2 1/4 cups, and it needs to be sifted.
Now, Miss Smetana, why do we sift flour?
Well, we sift it to separate the particles, and then it also aerates it and makes it very nice and fluffy. And the purpose of doing it is so that when it gets mixed into the dough, it gets mixed in evenly.
Okay.
So you don't end up with flour chunks.
Like a lump. You don't want a
Yes.
lump of flour. Okay, am I pouring
Sure.
just a little bit of, oh, see, I missed some.
That's okay. You can make this recipe without sifting the flour. There's a slight difference.
Maybe make it a little more chewy or something?
Yeah.
Does it? Yeah. Because you want these to be pretty like a butter cookie, right?
Right.
It's basically a butter cookie. Okay, am I spilling
That's
it?
okay. No, you're
am I a
good.
bad
I don't
sifter?
have a huge sifter, and normally I'd be using a smaller
Yeah,
cup
we
to
should have
pour
the-
it in.
That's okay. We'll
We
just keep going.
improvise.
So we're going to sift these, and then are we going to mix it again?
We will mix it again, and then we also need to add some. Oh,
See, I went way overboard there. See, now it's, and we need to add, what else did you say?
some food coloring.
Oh,
so the
we can
reason.
make them holiday green.
Correct, and the reason we like these in my family is because we go around to the neighborhood and deliver lots of cookie trays, and it's nice to add a little color to the tray.
Yeah,
and they're
so
bite-sized.
right, and so it's not everything looking like basically like the standard chocolate chip
Correct.
cookie. It's really cool.
All right.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a little quick break. We're going to let you mix these ingredients, and when we come back on this holiday edition of Cook This, we're going to see how to actually use this super fun tool to make butter spritz Christmas tree cookies. So we will be back in a little bit. I'm Tom Dignan. This is Principal Kristin Smetana, and we will be back with butter spritz shortly. And welcome back to Cook This, our very special holiday episode. And Miss Smetana is finished. We have all of our cookie dough ready now. And if we could show this, we did this nice little green color. So that's not just the bowl. You added probably, what, 5 or 6 drops of food coloring, which has no flavor. It's just strictly color. But now we put it in this super special toy. What do you call this?
It's called a cookie press.
A cookie press. See, I didn't know that either. I would have just, it looks like a caulk gun.
A little
Like you
bit,
could
yeah.
use it to caulk.
Yeah, a little bit.
So it looks like are you going to put all the dough in there at once, or do you want to like leave a little room? What's the trick to this?
It won't all fit, so you can fill it up if you'd like, or you can push it in halfway. It doesn't really matter. The dough at the end that will be left over at the end will have to be thrown back into the bowl and mixed in. But for now, I think that's good.
So it comes with a bunch of little patterns here, huh?
It does. So it doesn't just have to be for Christmas. My family, we always use a Christmas tree, but there is one to do a wreath. There's one if you wanted to do a snowflake.
Snowflake.
There's a pumpkin. I know there's
so
and then
you
just
could
a
make
bunch
these
of different shapes.
all year round.
Oh, yeah.
Any holiday you feel like making butter spritz. It's a universal holiday tool.
Yeah.
So it goes on
You
there,
push it on. Put the cap on.
and then we got a regular. Now, did you grease this cookie sheet, or do you leave it ungreased?
No, it needs to be ungreased, and you can't put parchment paper on. If you put parchment paper on, then the cookie doesn't actually come out because it needs something to stick to.
Oh, okay, I got you. All right.
All right, so then you just stick it down. And
Holy cow.
The first one that comes out, as you can see, is a little different than the others. That's usually when you throw back in the bowl or
Come on,
you
let me
taste
try.
test it.
Let me
Go
try
for it.
this because I don't think I can do this. Is everybody? Are we recording this? Because this is going to be my official first.
Perfect.
Look at that! It came out sideways on the tray, but
Doesn't matter.
I actually did it. Everybody in the studio audience here, I just made my first butter spritz Christmas tree.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you very much. It's something I've always wanted to do.
So you keep going until you're out of dough or until you fill the tray.
See, I didn't know you were supposed to press it down on there. Maybe that's what I did before in the past, is just
And
sort of
just
try to
squirting
squirt it
out.
at there, and it ends up trailing like a snake and doesn't look like a tree at all.
That does happen. So, because right now, if you stop and chat, then sometimes the dough comes gushing out and you got to throw that all back.
Right,
in
because the
bowl.
butter will melt, so you got to do it while the butter stays cold.
Right.
How many cookies will this batch make?
4 dozen.
Okay, so let's say we fill up this tray, and then what do you do to finish these before we put them in the magic oven?
So for Christmas, and with Christmas trees, we put some sprinkles on it to look like ornaments. I don't have
And
a
these are just
top
like
on
the
these.
old standard, like
Yeah.
same thing you get on like your ice cream sundaes and stuff, but they're little tiny beads.
Yep, and you just sprinkle them on. And you have to do this right after the cookies come out of the press because otherwise the sprinkles don't stick as well.
Right, if you baked the cookies and then tried to do them, they would all just roll off like
Yes,
this.
but even if you let the tray sit out for 5 minutes without putting it in the oven and then tried to put the sprinkles on, they wouldn't stick to the cookies.
It has to be an immediate sprinkling. It has to happen right away.
Yep.
See, these are good things to know.
And then you just put it in the oven for at 350 for about 10 minutes.
So they're quick too. And then do you take these, some cookies you have to take and put on a cooling rack and sort of or do you just sort of let them sit?
I let them sit.
Okay. So we're going to put these into our magic pretend oven. They're baking at 350 for 10 minutes there. And look, they just came out of the oven
wow.
over here. Should we walk around and we'll sample some of these?
Sure.
Now, I'll be honest, even though I love cookies. Like, I love sweet things. I love dessert. So
Who
can I
doesn't?
can I
Go
take
for
one?
it.
Are you going to have one with me?
I will have one with you.
Cheers. Happy holidays. Delicious. I like the sprinkles on it because it gives you a little something to crunch. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And this was wonderful. This will be mine to take home.
Glad you enjoy.
So, now I have to sort of finish. How many of these will you make per season?
Usually just one batch. Sometimes we double it. So sometimes 8 dozen.
8 dozen cookies. I could do it. I could eat 8 dozen cookies. Well, thank you very much for sharing your butter spritz recipe with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Happy holidays to you, Ms. Smetana. And on behalf of all my chefs, Ms. Farley, Ms. Sarkady, Ms. Smetana, very happy holidays to all of you everywhere, wherever you're at watching this show. I'm Tom Dignan. This has been our holiday edition of Cook This, and we will see you next time.